Yo, it's your boy FireCrotch on the mic. This is a Riffed review for The Twin. The movie starts out like any other movie with a family on a road trip until all of a sudden they wreck. It shows a woman in a hospital room where you find out when she wrecked the car, she ended up losing one of her twins. It caught me completely off guard. I feel so bad for her to lose someone, let alone have to put up their old house for sale just so they can friend a new start with new memories. Although it sucks, I think it would be a good fit for them to try to get better. So their new house is a long drive on a countryside, which looks nice, peaceful, and quiet place to live. Once they make it to their new house, I just have to tell you guys, it's a very nice place, big for my liking. Once they got in the house, it was very antique looking. It had a bunch of old pictures on the fireplace mantle, which really added to the atmosphere. Elliot then goes and pick out his own room. He was excited, and I was excited for him, but that would be way too many stairs for your boy FireCrotch. Take my word for it when I say my knees would struggle every day. So then Elliot's room has a door in the wall. It's really dark in there, though I thought my boy Elliot was gonna jump out. I probably would have crapped my pants, to be completely honest. Then Elliot comes behind her. Then Rachel looks out the window, sees her husband talking to the neighbors, thinking it seems sussy-wussy. She goes out there to see what they're up to, and it turns out they were invited to a welcome party. Later that day, Elliot had one of his brother's old toys playing with it, and while his parents got into an argument because he wanted a bed for his dead brother, and Dad stated that he didn't need to do that, but against his pleas, the mom stated that she promised him that they would get a bed for his dead brother, trying his hardest to move on, but the painful reminders always seem to catch up. Suddenly the mom has a dream of her reliving the day her son was buried. That honestly must have been awful to experience all over again. The next day, Elliot and his parents went on a boat ride. I'm personally not a big fan of the water, especially once they passed a rock. Upon the rock there was a handprint, so his dad took the opportunity to tell a story of his childhood. Later that night, Rachel was cleaning her room across from Elliot's room. Once she hears him talking to someone, she opens the door and boom, he's playing with his toy cars. And guess the person he's talking to doesn't exist. No one in the room but him and the mom. Before he gets up and closes the door shuts in her face. Dang, that was cold, my brother, man. The next day, they went over to the neighbor's house for the welcome party. I would have felt anxious, nervous with my anxiety on the roof, my head in the clouds. A creepy old lady came right up behind Rachel and started talking to her. She broke the ice and left the conversation mid-condition. I couldn't do that. Like, I'd have a hard time talking to new people, so I definitely was taking notes. Once they're well acquainted, they go into the woods for a nice walk. Not sus at all though. Once the creepy factor goes away, it turns out to be a nice, good talk about life and memories. It's crazy. The moment the old lady looks at Rachel dead in her face and says, I dreamed about you and your son. Remember when you touched the rock? Your dream came true. I was like, sheesh, I must touch that rock in all the right places. The husband yells for her. The old lady walked away. Rachel and her husband go on the swing type thing. Looks dangerously scary. The neighbors start pushing him on it like it's grade school. Just a look makes my food swing inside my stomach. I struggle to keep it in. Although the husband is having a blast, Rachel looks like she's going to throw up. I was praying that she didn't, and she stayed strong for my sake. She then had a flashback of the accident and suddenly passed out before hitting the ground, because I'm calling timber. So far, this movie feels like a regular movie with a regular family as they argue about stupid things. After recovering that whole ordeal, we end up back at the house where Elliot draws a picture of the family. It triggers Rachel to see it looks like someone else standing to this side of them. In the background is a picture of a big structure or something. Then on the ground could possibly be the dad laying on the ground with blood bleeding out. I ain't no Sherlock Holmes, but I think this kid is up to killing his dad. Then last night, she had a flashback of the day they went to meet the neighbors for a get-together. Somehow she's running through the cornfield before she suddenly gets hit by a car. No worries though, guys. It was just a nightmare. Then she looks out the window and sees Elliot standing outside like a menace. Still, like the cold never bothered him anyway. Unable to let it go, she rushes out there and boom, he's not there. Guess what? Another freaking dream. So much sleeping in this movie. That doesn't even count the naps I've already taken. Elliot has the audacity to say that he's not Elliot and that he's Nathan. I was like, boy, you're talking about Willis, Rachel, and the father took one of the beds out of Nathan's room, and oh boy, Elliot was triggered. Then he was trying to keep Nathan's toys, which Elliot screams like a banshee. I'm not Elliot, I'm Nathan. And Nathan is dead, okay? Nathan is dead. The doctor says the problem is tragedy happens. Elliot is being used as a mirror and reflections Rachel's emotions. Then Rachel shows up at the old lady's house. They start talking where they left off. We find out the only church was burnt down because of they simply believing in paganism. The religion, not pagan in him. Man, that would be a total different movie. The old lady shows us a map of the full circle early on the movie where the sun touches the rock he wished came true. Oh boy, let me tell you, the internal impetus destroyer of all virtues comes and sees Elliot every night to take Elliot from his family. He won't stop coming until he gets Elliot. Oh boy, that's not good news at all. Then Rachel leaves the old lady's house. She comes and they go into a argument, which brings us back to the old lady's house where she wakes up, leaves the room, and I look out the window, and then she walks through the house because she hears something in her house. I would hightail out of there. She goes downstairs where thinks the noise is coming from. The door behind her open and scary noises come from. I would be like, heck no, I'm out here. But no, white people are like, let's go into this room with creepy noises. Makes sense. Then she goes in the room. Why is so stupid? She goes to the shower curtains and they're nothing but anxiety. I'm sweating like you're stupid. Don't open the freaking, and boom, nothing. I felt so relieved. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Then I'm pretty sure she dies off camera. Never mind. It was only a really bad nightmare. I thought it was so real. Then she meets up with Rachel, starts talking again. At this time, the old lady's husband, it looked like he was being possessed or something out of the exorcism or conjuring movie type stuff, because let me tell you exactly what's going through my mind. Turns out he died because it shows him in a coffin in the middle of the church with not one but two priests. They were doing something to the room. Then Rachel goes to the attic, finds an old camera, then she starts taking pictures of Elliot swinging on the swing set. Then he gets mad at her. They start arguing all night. Then she finds out Nathan's toy is in his bed. That triggers her so much he threw it in the fire. The husband starts talking to her, calms her down. They start hugging. Then it shows outside the house, then back in the house to the room with Elliot's parents. Elliot wakes up the mom. She continues to lay down. Now she gets up, follows Elliot downstairs to the kitchen, and there's a picture of Nathan on the table. I think Elliot done lost his mind. I would have told him to go to bed, but no, she doesn't get the memo. She does what he says instead. Then she goes to town to get the pictures that she took the other day of Elliot swinging, and somehow the camera doesn't work as well as it should have. Elliot calls for her, but she's upstairs looking frustrated, looking at all them pictures. Meanwhile, Rachel ends up going to the old lady's house to show her the pictures if she's seen anything wrong with them. The old lady asks to go see her son. Now they are panicking. They're in the car arguing over and over and over. So they make it back to the house to see Elliot. They go upstairs. It seems she's freaking out, and she says, no, you're sick. Get away from me, fool. Then the neighbor jumps on her. She wakes up. People are dressed in white around her. Let me tell you what, I was freaking out. Like, how did it happen? And somehow they do a ritual. She wakes up out of her nightmare, storms out of the house, chasing Elliot, and her husband's chasing the both of them. It happens for a solid 5 agonizing minutes of them chasing each other through the woods. I don't know if it was 5 minutes, but it felt forever. Then he tries to talk her down. Turns out that there was no Elliot, only Nathan. Lost her mind. She was hallucinating the whole time, but in her eyes, Elliot was one of her real sons. I think she's crazy. I know for a fact now she is nuts. So she follows Elliot to an abandoned place. She climbs up to the top looking for Elliot. She's talking to him. Then the husband comes up to get the point right to her. Somehow Elliot gets down there. The dad bumps the corn on the kid guess what happens next? I'll tell you, BS is what happened. She shoved him right off the dang balcony. He falls right to his death. Then we pop up at his funeral now. The husband's funeral, okay? Let me point that out there again. You're not gonna believe this, okay? But the dad, Elliot, Nathan are in the car. Elliot and Nathan and the dad are freaking dead. The movie threw me off the cliff. For more news and reviews, whatever we choose, stay tuned to Nerdsfeed.